Hi Stampers, this is Karen Phillip. I'm a Stampin' Up Demonstrator and I'm pleased to show you how to make this card. I'm calling this technique Flying Plane. And this is the card, and the plane goes back and forth on this little track. And it doesn't spin around because I didn't want it to, so there's a little bit of a different thing that we do with this than typically. It just opens up then to be a regular card. Here is the sample for club members, and this also moves. And on the back of the instructions are detailed instructions on how to do this. So let's get started. You will need this curvy, I should keep these handy, curved label punch. And it's just like this. And then the stamp set, or stamp bundle, Adventurous Sky, and then there are dies to go with it. And I'm using basically all three of these planes, but this middle one is for the sample, but for the card itself we're using the large one, and the smallest one goes on the inside. The sentiment is flying by to say hi. So the first step is, I guess I'll do the technique first. So I have a piece of designer paper. It's 3 by 5, I believe. Yes, 3 by 5. And this does have a direction, a specific direction. So I'm telling this as a word of advice because I screwed up too many times. I've screwed up like 3 times on this, to make sure that when you put your plane on here, they're going in the correct direction. And you'll see what I'm talking about as I get into it further. So we will take our punch, and for purposes of demonstration, I guess, this is how I showed people. They could just stand it up and make sure that you only have about 1/8 of an inch side on the one side, and then punch. Then we will take this piece, flip it around. This is where the flipping part confuses, or not confuses, but happens, that messes everybody up. So this one you can't put down like standing up because it won't line up, but you still want the left side to line up about 1/8 of an inch over. But then you have to line this up with the other one. And there will be a little gap here because of the width of the paper, but there'll be the gap, but that's okay. Then you punch it, and you get this this little, I'm going to call it design. I can't think right now. But I did notice that I did leave, where's my little, okay. So I did leave, I didn't get it exact. So there's just a tiny, tiny, tiny little notch in here, or a little bumpy, but it's not even a notch. I will trim that because if it's not smooth, it will not fly freely. So it's just a tiny, tiny bit, like not even 1/16 of an inch. It's just a little nub that you want to make sure it's not there. Now, I don't know if you can see this or not, but now my planes are upside down. So as soon as you notice that, immediately flip it over because it'll save you a lot of grief in the future. And you have like the last minute to make it work. But just speaking from experience on this one, I messed up a couple of them. So now we will take 2 round circles. I'm using it the color of the base card, and this is copper clay. These are 1-inch circles. I suppose you could go bigger, but you don't necessarily need to. You can, I have a punch, or there are dies that do have 1-inch circles. What I found worked the best. Now I've done this technique in the past, and I've used pennies or washers or put stuff on top of this and made this double width and everything. But this one, this seemed to work really well just by doing what I'm going to show you. I'm taking the small dimensionals, putting one on each of these circles. And the reason why we're using 2 circles, remember I told you I didn't want the plane, if you push this and you push it up, it won't flip around. If you don't have the second circle in here, it will twirl, and I didn't want it twirling out of control. I just wanted it to move on the little opening here that we had. Okay, so I have my 2 little dots. I will take this and just set it on the circle, and you will take your, where'd it go? You will take your, oh, here it is, my kit, and I'm missing my plane. We will take the plane, and we have to stamp it. I already punched these out. You could do it either way, but for class I usually have these punched out already. We will take the plane. I'm using navy ink and inking it up this way because it's a large image. And what I found worked best is taking your, just get this out of the way here, taking your piece and setting it on top. It's easier than trying to line up, especially with rubber stamps. And what I liked, instead of just like trying to eye it up and set it down, I find a point at one, there's usually a point or a smaller point, and I'm just holding it up, moving this so it lines up with the other side, and then press down. Normally I have a piece of white paper that I put over it, but I don't have that right now. And then it comes out very, very close to the outline of it. So now we have it stamped. Oh, I just put my thumb in the ink. Okay. Cleaned up my thumb. Alright, so now I will color this a little bit. This is in Smoky Slate, and I got the color scheme from the paper itself. And I'm taking the light copper clay, and I'm just coloring, again, I'm using the paper as my guide, and I'm just coloring certain parts of the plane. It's not a whole lot, so that's why I can color it in front of you. So that's it for, oh wait, and then I just did some outline on the top, not being very neat on it, but that's okay. It's a card. There's some little cross hatches here. There. If you want to color more specific, then you can, but I don't. And then in the center, I'm using some Misty Moonlight, and I'm just putting coloring in the bottoms of the wheels, and there's a little point in the center of the propeller, just like right there. It's right there. And that's it for coloring. And then I did take some Wink of Stella and twirled it around, and because there's ink on here, I use navy ink, so it's kind of smearing it, but that's kind of the look I want, because then it looks like it's actually flying, and then it has a little sheen to it too, and it will dry a little bit later. Alright, now that that's all done, so to know the distance to put in between here, you want to center these, the little dimensionals. The first one will be your, you don't have the liners off of this yet. So you put the first one on, and then the second one you'll move to line it up for the back end of the plane. You will have a little bit of the hole or the little circle showing, but you will be putting it on this color base, so there's really no need to worry about it. So that's where it'll fit. I'm going to take this off, and it's about ½ inch in between the two. On your little sample piece for this, they're only about an inch, or they're touching. They're basically touching. Okay, so I'm taking this off, making sure these are kind of centered. Now I did use 3/4 inch circles, and that didn't work because they slid right through this little hole, even though this is a smaller hole. Again, I mentioned of putting pennies or coins or washers, or even taking another circle and putting over the top and then gluing this to that, but that's really not necessary on this card. I don't know why, but it's not. So I'm putting the first one over the propeller, the second one over a part that won't show the dimensional, and that's it for this part of it. And then kind of test it. It will work once it's all put together. It takes a little bit for some reason. Now, if indeed you did what I did and got this upside down, now's the last chance to fix it. And you can just slide these out of you can slide the whole thing out. See, it's still attached. Just slide it out of your little track here, and then put it back so that the paper's going the correct way. And because I messed up so many times, that's why I'm saying that. I don't know if it was just me or what, but it just, I think because it comes out like upside down when you're done punching it. Alright, so now we will put it together onto the card. I have some of these adhesive strips. They're the things you typically use for shaker cards, but they're just called adhesive strips. And I have a scissors here that has a Teflon top to it, and that helps it from sticking to the scissors, the glue from the scissors. So we'll put one on each side. And you want this to pop up so that it gives this space to move. Otherwise, if you put it flat, then these won't be able to move. And then I need 2 of them. I've got some longer ones here. Alright, so then I'll take the long ones. These come in long strips. They are, and you get quite a few in here. They come like this. They're just foam adhesive strips. They're probably, does it say? I don't know. But anyway, that's how they come. And you get a couple in a pack. So they go a long way. Alright, that's going there. It doesn't have to be exactly to the edge. Alright. And there. And then remove your topping on it. And you'll do the same thing with your little sample. You'll put the adhesive foam strips on there. And so now we're going to put this on. Again, last chance, make sure your paper's going in the right direction, because it just for some reason doesn't look right to me, but it is. This is a 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. I'm putting this on top of it, just trying to center it. And now you have your mechanism for the plane. Very simple, really. And then instead of taking a whole 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of this designer paper, which is beautiful, by the way, and on sale as I speak. This is until end of August that the sale is 15% off. I made strips, 3/4 inch strips for the top and bottom, and I'm conserving paper that way, and just putting it 1/8 of an inch down on both sides. And I'm not real accurate today. One side's more than the other. I'm gonna take that off. It's like way bad. When you pull stuff off, if you get it off right away, it's helpful to like hold down your paper. Don't like pull it off that way. That way you have a better chance of it being intact. See, there's really no residue at all. So I gotta put it on centered. There we go. I guess it's better. Now I will put adhesive on the back of this. Making sure it's the right direction. And just center this onto your strips. I'm struggling here tonight. Maybe because it's nighttime. I usually do this during the day. There we go. And you have your card. On the inside, I would stamp this the little plane that comes in there in navy, and then there's a sentiment that says flying by to say hi. I just would take a little white strip and put it on there, and I don't know where my other sample went. Anyway, then I just set that right there. You'll see that on the Mama website. So that's how you do it. It's kind of cool. So thanks for watching and have a great day.